Even as we celebrate the end of war, we cannot forget the plight of the IDP community whose suffering still continues. The tumultuous climax of the war has resulted in a huge exodus of refugees in IDP camps within the past few months. The needs of these thousands displaced, settled in temporary shelters in Vaunia, must be addressed without delay. Here is what the government has planned for these displaced people in the north. On the 17th of May 2009, the military announced that all civilians trapped in the Vanni had been rescued by government forces, bringing an end to what they called the largest hostage rescue mission in the world. Although the number of people remaining in the no-fire zone had been contested, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees say that an estimated 65,000 people crossed over to the government-controlled areas that week. This latest massive influx of people brought the total number of civilians who have fled the fighting to 265,000. This naturally puts greater strain on the effort of the government and other agencies to address the needs of these people. At a press briefing in Colombo, the Minister of Human Rights and Disaster Management, Mahinda Samarsinghe, highlighted the government's plans to rehabilitate and resettle the IDPs.
Now, the policy of the government is to resettle all of these IDPs in their homes, in their villages, as soon as possible, without taking any shortcuts and compromising on their security and well-being, in order that the resettlement itself can be assured to be sustainable. There are certain things, certain steps that have to be taken in the process of assuring that the resettlement can take place. As you would no doubt understand, the LTT has been mining these villages, the roads, even agricultural land. They have not been keeping any records of the mines that have been laid. So the demining has to be done immediately so that the environs can be made more secure or secure. And infrastructure development has to take place. A lot of the roads, a lot of the other infrastructure services have been neglected very badly, damaged very badly as a result of the conflict. So conducive environment has to be created. Along with that, of course, there are many other challenges that we as a government would have to face in making the resettlement comprehensively sustainable. Livelihood issues have to be addressed. That's very important. There are ex-combatants who have surrendered through the courts, who are now in rehabilitation centers. Others would be put into rehabilitation centers. They would be rehabilitated and reintegrated into society. And along with that, they must be given an income earning capacity, so that once again that reintegration is successful and sustainable.
Professor Rajiv Vijay Singha of the Secretariat for Coordinating the Peace Process also pointed out the government's interest in putting in place a political settlement.
I think one of the most important consequences of this is the space it opens up for democratic Tamil forces. You know, one of the most important things, I think, when the government abrogated the peace accord or the ceasefire agreement in 2008, that didn't come as a surprise. The LTT had broken the accord anyway and fired us. We were going back in self-defense. But it liberated us from the assumption that a negotiated solution had to be only with the LTT. That was the LTT position. We were able to move with the other Tamil political parties. Lots of them have come out now, and I wish people would address them seriously. We also hope now that the TNA, whom the President has consistently invited for discussions, but which has stayed away, we have understood this. They were frightened, obviously, of meeting the fate of some earlier people who spoke to the government. But we hope they too will come into an inclusive discussion. And the whole process, as the Minister said, needs empowerment, economic empowerment, social empowerment, but also political discussion, which can now be free and fair.
Meanwhile, the main opposition party, the UNP, while congratulating the government for defeating terrorism in the country, called for a lasting solution to build the nation by winning the hearts and minds of the people.
War is one part of the fight. Getting rid of terrorism was why you needed the war. Now, the government has to heal the hearts and minds of people, the citizens of this country, be they Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Burghers, Malays, all. So now the government will have to move in that direction to ensure that everybody, all citizens in this country can live peacefully and with dignity and with economic and social freedom. And we believe that the UNP can be supportive at any time to make this country's economy perhaps the strongest in Asia. It's not a dream, but it can be made a reality because this country has all the resources. The war was the biggest issue.
Despite government forces winning the battle against the LTTE, the battle to meet the needs of the thousands displaced is not yet over. Relief agencies are concerned as stocks of basic essential items at camps in the Vanni are running low. UN agencies have called on the government to improve conditions in the 42 existing sites hosting the IDPs and ensure adequate care and maintenance for these civilians. There is also a need to allocate more land for the construction of emergency shelter, water and sanitation facilities, as well as to provide public buildings in Vaunia, Jaffna, Mana and Kilinochchi in order to accommodate the latest IDPs. Clearly, the road ahead is long if Sri Lanka is to rebuild herself into the peaceful, united country that she aspires to be. We take a look at an initiative that is seen as a step in that very direction right after this break.